And Jackie, just let me know when you'd like for us to start. I know we got about a minute based on my clock.
It looks like we're still waiting on Christopher.
Okay.
Oh, wait, let me see. Nope, he's there. Ryan, are we live?
We are live now.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and unmute Mr. Underwood.
And Jackie, do I go ahead and just kick off the announcement of Inglewood City Council study session?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Inglewood City Council special study session of November 9th. Tonight, we will be covering board and commission interviews. And so, Jackie, I guess we would just wait for the first interviewee.
Mr. Underwood is ready.
Mr. Underwood, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Underwood. This is Mayor Pro Tem Othaniel Sierra. Thank you very much for your interest in one of the board and commissions here in Inglewood. Tonight, we will be providing you a list of 7 questions. You have 10 minutes to go through answers for each of the 7 questions. And I will go ahead and kick it off. But before we start, do you have any questions regarding the process?
Nope. Sounds good to me.
Perfect. So, Mr. Underwood, I'm Mayor Pro Tem Othaniel Sierra. I represent District 1 here in Inglewood. And my first question to you is, what motivates you to apply for an Inglewood Board and Commission at this time?
Yeah, first thing that comes to mind is I've lived in Inglewood most of my life. Recently, I've gotten pretty handy around the house with improving things out in the yard, things around the house, and wanted to have an opportunity to give back in some way. See if I could share my knowledge and possibly have a larger role in the community.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So I'm City Council Member John Stone, representing Inglewood City at large. Thank you for being here tonight, Mr. Underwood. And I have question 2 for you. What knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to the board or commission that you're applying for? In particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the boards and commissions that you marked as preferred?
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think I bring a lot of knowledge and skills. I've worked as a instructional designer and training specialist for the last 15 years. So I'm really good with computers and various types of software and applications. I'm also really good with taking information and composing it and organizing it into easy to understand, meaningful documentation. So I think one of the primary skills I would have is being able to provide, whether it's quick reference guides or some form of job aid to residents, helping spread information about codes within the community.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Evening, Mr. Underwood. My name is Joe Anderson, City Council Member representing District 3. My question for you tonight is, would you please describe an experience in the past during which you worked with a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views and perspectives?
Oh, that's a great question. Yeah, a lot of the work I do, I used to work as a contractor within training and development. So I work with companies to consult on their training programs, give them suggestions on how to improve the quality of it. And every time I worked with a call center, I find the most diverse group of individuals. There were people who wanted things just step by step by step. There were other people who wanted it more conceptual and more high level. And everyone seemed to want to have it yesterday. So I think one of the big things that I go about doing is finding what motivates people, what the common ground is, the compromises, and ways that we can use each other's differences to help improve the process or the outcome.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Excuse me. I was already speaking and my mic was not.
No problem. I thought it was my headset for this, so no problem.
Good evening, Mr. Underwood. It's nice to have you here. I'm Councilmember Russell. I am council member at large, and it's great to have you here this evening. I actually happen to be the council liaison to the Code Enforcement Advisory Committee, and I'm very grateful that you've applied. What is it that you like most about Inglewood?
Well, first off, thank you for having me tonight. I appreciate the opportunity to interview, and I love everything about Inglewood. I was born here. I was born at Swedish Hospital, lived here most of my life. I actually graduated from high school in Southwest Denver from John F. Kennedy High School, but I lived right by Lincoln High School, so I still wasn't really that far away from Inglewood the whole time, maybe a mile or so west. I love the diversity of Inglewood. I love the culture. I love the character of the houses, the businesses. No matter where you are in Inglewood, it's very distinct in terms of friendliness, in terms of artisticness. There's a certain defining aspect of Inglewood that you don't really find anywhere else in the Denver metro area. That's always kept my interest, but most importantly, it's home. I'm really invested in this area. I have a family I've been raising in my house for the past 4 years on Galapagos Street, right by Jason Park. And I just want to help make it better in any way I can.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mr. Underwood, I'm Cheryl Wink, and I'm a council member at large. Welcome this evening. My question for you is, given you have some tenure in the city of Englewood, is there anything in particular at this time that you would like to see improved regarding the code enforcement commission? And if not, is there anything maybe outside the commission but pertaining to code enforcement that you would like to see improved at this time?
Thank you for that question. There are two things that come to mind, and one of them I'm actually pretty sure is being worked out, and that was regarding trash service within Inglewood. Being here for a while, I've seen the impact that multiple trash vendors have had. I've started with one of them, had to move around several times, but based on what I've seen recently, it looks like there's work being done on that. So that's awesome. The other main thing, I think the big thing for me at this point is tree removal and getting some ability to find affordable, reliable arborists in the area to help trim my tree and to help make sure that other trees in the neighborhood are safe. There's a lot of large trees in Inglewood. Seems the city was is pretty old, so I have an elm tree that's over 60 feet in the backyard, and it's a beautiful tree, but there's times when the winds pick up where I'm like, oh man, this could fall the wrong way and take out either power lines or take out a unit or a structure. And I've heard from others in the neighborhood that it's difficult to have the arborists come out and trim trees and remove them. They're always very busy. They have to schedule far out. So I think one of the first things that come to mind is finding a way to make it easier or providing more information to residents about how far in advance to schedule ahead, things like that.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening, Mr. Underwood. My name is Dave Cuesta. I'm your neighbor in District 4. And I have the 6th question for you. Regular attendance and engagement with the board and commission is required. Will you be able to attend the scheduled meetings?
Absolutely. Whether they're virtual or in person, I have no problem attending. I work remote right now, so I'm set up for virtual capabilities 100% for remote working. And also I live about 5 minutes down the street from the Civic Center. So even in-person meetings, it would take me a couple minutes to get down there. So absolutely.
Very good. Thank you, sir. And to the group, we're closing in on that 8-minute mark.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Member Cuesta. And the last question for you, Mr. Underwood, this is Mayor Pro Tem Sierra again. 7th question is, how will your service on the Board or Commission benefit you as an Inglewood citizen, either personally or professionally?
Oh, wow. That's a really good question. I think personally, it would help me give back to the community, which has been a big thing for me over the last few years, especially with raising kids and seeing a lot of the wonderful work done by the public school system and the Inglewood schools. It's really inspired me to say, hey, I can help too. Things are difficult right now, and I have skills that I can help share. So personally, it would help me feel as if I'm giving back. And my passion has always been training and teaching. It's been my career for 15 years. Even before it was my career, it was my goal all throughout school to become teachers. So anytime I can share information or knowledge, that's a win for me. It's something I enjoy doing, and I think it's something that we need more of. So I would say, it all comes down to just helping to share the experience and the knowledge I've earned, sometimes the easy way, most of the times the hard way, and then also have a larger role in the community.
No, that's great, Mr. Underwood. Thank you very much for that. And actually, I'll ask another question, which isn't part of the 7 that we asked, but you just specified that you wanted to be a member of this Code Enforcement Advisory Committee. Would there be any other committees that you would be interested in joining if a need arises?
Keep Inglewood beautiful. I'm not sure if there's any openings on that. That's one that I'm interested in. But I think code enforcement is probably the main one, especially when it comes to the things around the neighborhood. I think that that would be where my main interest would be.
Okay, perfect.
But
and
I'm definitely open.
Okay, I appreciate that. And member Cuesta, do we have any time left for questions for us?
And I actually don't have any. So
Coming off mute, but yes.
Yeah, and I actually don't have any questions. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and it's great to speak with all of you, and hope you have a wonderful rest of your night.
Thank you very much, Mr. Underwood. We'll definitely be in touch once we go through this process, and we'll notify you of next steps. So thank you very much for your interest in serving your community.
All right, thank you. Have a great night. Bye.
Thank you so much. And Assistant City Clerk McKinnon.
I see Mr. Dunning here, Nathaniel.
Mr. Dunning should be ready to go.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Dunning. This is Mayor Pro Tem Nathaniel Sierra. I serve District 1. To give you a little bit of background about the process tonight, we will be asking you 7 questions tonight. And you do have a time limit of about 10 minutes. Once we get through the 7 questions, you will have the opportunity to ask us any questions as well. And so I guess I'll just go ahead and ask my question here. So first question I have for you is, what motivates you to apply for an Inglewood Board or Commission at this time?
Sure. Thanks for the question, and thanks for the time tonight. It's good to see a couple of you guys. Why boards and commissions now? I have a background working at the state level and state policy making for several years here at the state legislature. And truth be told, local administration's always been of interest to me. I believe local government arguably has a greater impact on our day-to-day than that of state and federal government. My wife and I have been in Inglewood for just over a year now, and in Colorado for 4 going on 5 years. We've had the opportunity to put down roots here in Inglewood, and through conversations with neighbors, with colleagues, with a few of the current city council members who I've pestered the last few months, these opportunities came about, and it just seems like serving on a local board and commission would be a fantastic way to give back to the city that we now call home.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dunning.
Hey, Mr. Dunning, this is John Stone, Inglewood City Council member at large, and I've got question number 2 for you. Thanks for being here tonight. What knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to a board or commission? In particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service? Through your service on the boards and commissions you marked as preferred.
Wonderful. Thanks for the question, Councilman. I moved up here in 2016 with my wife to pursue my schooling. I have a master's in public administration from the University of Colorado, Denver. Prior to that, I worked at the state legislature in Texas and in Colorado. I've worked with environmental nonprofits in water conservation work. I just have that knowledge of public administration, what good governance looks like, and I just want to be a voice for that and be able to bring that expertise to the city of Inglewood and just improve what all you guys are doing right.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Good evening, Mr. Dunning. This is Joe Anderson, City Council member for District 3. My question tonight is, please describe an experience in the past during which you worked with a group of diverse and sometimes opposing views and perspectives.
Oh, goodness. Thank you for the question, Councilman. It's good to see you. I've got quite a bit of experience doing some local campaign work. I've worked city council races. I've worked some, municipal issue races, and goodness, campaigning, going door to door knocking, making those phone calls. You get you get the gamut. You might encounter folks that just inherently disagree with what you're fighting on behalf of, and having to do the due research and having the knowledge to speak to both sides of a conflict or a topic, that's valuable. And I think that my experience has allowed me to be able to navigate those conversations well. Let's see, I've worked in the policy advocacy space now in Colorado for a couple of years, and with my current job as manager of public affairs at COPIC. And like I said, the burden is on me to do the due research, to be well versed on both sides of the topic, and I think that's just a trait that I can bring to a board and commission.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Dunning.
Good evening, Mr. Dunning. My name is Rita Russell. I'm council member at large, and I have the fourth question this evening, which is, what do you like most about Inglewood?
That's a loaded question, Councilwoman. Thank you. We've been here for just over a year and a half, like I said, and my wife and I, we're actually from neighboring small towns in Central Texas. Don't hold it against us, but we moved to Austin, and then we moved to Denver. We've done life in the big cities. We enjoy the big cities, a lot about it, but when we were looking for a place to call home and put down roots, Inglewood checked those boxes. It has that the hometown, small town feel, yet it has access. We're 10 minutes from downtown. There's wonderful local parks, off leash. We're two big clumsy Labrador Retriever owners, and the parks, the outdoor space, the green space, all the wonderful local restaurants. That's just a big draw, and I love bringing friends down here to Rico's and Gallows and going down to Duncan Park. That's a big reason why we love Inglewood. It really is.
All right, thank you very much, and it's great to have you here.
Certainly, thank you, ma'am.
Mr. Dunning, I'm Cheryl Wink. I'm a city council member at large. Good evening. So you and Bryn, I'm assuming
Yes,
there's
yes,
a relation between the two of you, maybe?
That's correct. She's my my better half, my wife.
Okay. So you've both indicated interest in quite a few boards and commissions, which is fantastic. Could you name one facet of the city that you'd like to see improved that pertains to one of the boards of your interest to you? Something in particular that you'd like to see? Yeah.
Yes,
better.
ma'am. So the top three I was looking at, I think I applied for a number. You're right, Councilwoman. Is number one, and this isn't really a room for improvement. The Elections Commission, I have to commend. And goodness, just the amount of turnout we had in the state and the election system we have in Colorado was fantastic. And that was of interest to me because I just want to be a part of that. Second was keep Inglewood beautiful. I worked for the Texas Water Foundation, a nonprofit, for over a year during my time in Texas, and spent time doing quantitative and qualitative research about how we can improve water conservation and water planning, and I haven't had a chance to dive too deep, a lot of water puns, too deep into the conservation efforts going on in Inglewood right now. I get my bill and I see the increases, and I see where those tax dollars are going, those fees are going, and perhaps diving more into that and seeing what we could do more as a city to conserve water. That would probably be an area I'd like to look at if we were, keep Inglewood beautiful. Parks and Rec. My wife works. She's an occupational therapist. She works with children with developmental disabilities, and I'll let her go on this. You'll speak to her later this evening, but just seeing some improvements, access improvements for that population at some of the parks that we've been to, that would be an area that I'd like to further flesh out as well.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much. That was a really great answer.
Thank you, Councilwoman.
You bet.
Member Cuesta, you're on mute.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Good evening, Mr. Dunning. My name is Dave Quest. I'm with District 4. Welcome, sir.
Good evening.
And just to the group real quick, we are at the 8-minute mark. And my question for you, Mr. Dunning, is that regular attendance and engagement with the board and commission are required. Will you be able to attend the scheduled meetings regularly?
Thank you, Councilman. Yes, I will. As you know, I work from home exclusively, and I'm just looking for time to give back and back to the community, so I can definitely be in attendance. Yes.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Dunning, Mayor Pro Tem Sierra, again, last question for the night is, how will your service on this board or commission benefit you as an Inglewood citizen, either professionally or personally?
Ooh, thank you for the question, Councilman. Professionally, it would certainly allow me to, working in the public space, it would allow me to expand my network. I've had the opportunity to chat with a few council members and just trying to find ways to get involved. We put down roots here for a reason, which was, a lot of my answer to Councilwoman Russell. We chose Inglewood for a reason, and personally, the ability to give back and advocate for the betterment of the lives of fellow Inglewoodians would be a personal reason. I've got the time to do it, and what better way than to get involved with some boards and commissions? So between expanding my personal network, my professional network down here in this part of the city, and then just giving back to what Inglewood's going to give us and our future family. I think those are benefits speak for themselves.
Yeah, really appreciate that, Mr. Dunning. And I believe you may have less than a minute left. Do you have any questions for the city council?
I do not at this time. I just appreciate the time this evening. It's good to see y'all, and hope I can be a good fit somewhere. Thank you for the time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dunning. We will be in touch regarding the next steps for commission. So thank you very much for your interest in serving the community.
Certainly. Thank y'all. Good night.
Thank you.
I do have John Liberman on here. It looks like I just asked him to unmute. Let's see if he's able to.
Mr. Lieberman, are you able to hear us?
He's still currently muted.
Mr. Lieberman, can you hear us?
Ryan, are you able to unmute him?
Yeah, I'm not. I can just ask, but I can't actually unmute the mic.
Jackie, were we able to see if he was if he just logged in just a minute ago, or has he been?
He's been hanging out there.
Okay.
Let's see. I can text him. What is he? He has hit like
There we
9
go.
or something. You
I
got
think I
it?
got it.
All
There we go.
right.
There we go.
Mr. Lieberman, thank you very much for making it tonight, and thank you very much for your interest in serving on a board of commission here in Inglewood. My name is Mayor Pro Tem Sierra. Tonight we're going to be asking you a list of 7 questions. You have 10 minutes to answer the 7 questions. If there's any time remaining, you can ask a question of the city council as well. So I'll go ahead and just get started. And actually, Mr. Lieberman, I know you may be on the road, so if you did want to share or start your video, you're welcome to do so.
Let's see here. I'm in a bit of a disadvantage here running this from my phone.
Don't worry about it. It's perfectly fine. So
I'm in a
I'll go ahead and
parking
get
lot.
started.
I'm in a parking lot in Georgetown.
Okay.
So
No, that's completely fine. So I'll go ahead and get started with the first question, Mr. Lieberman. What motivates you to apply for an Inglewood board or commission at this time?
I have lived in Inglewood since 1993, and Inglewood's been very good to me. I really like the community. I like my neighbors. When you meet someone new from Inglewood, you immediately form a bond with that person. I think people that live in Inglewood are proud of what we as a community have developed. And I'd be proud to, contribute beyond the traditional boundaries of just residency.
Really appreciate that, Mr. Lieberman. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Lieberman, my name is John Stone. I am a council member at large for the city of Inglewood, and I'm asking you question number 2, which is what knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to a board or commission? In particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the boards and commissions you marked as preferred?
Okay. I don't know that I have any special skills that would, we have some engineers here. We have people who have served in, public positions before. I don't have any of that. I'm a salesperson. I have a master's in business from the University of Denver. Certainly there's some skills I've picked up there. I would say what I would bring to the table would be thoughtfulness, and something so lacking these days, politeness. I like to think that I'm a good listener. I let people present their position, and I guess I'm somewhat easygoing in terms of my relationships with other people. I show great respect for my peers and counterparts.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Good evening, Mr. Lieberman. This is Joe Anderson, District 3 City Council member. My question tonight is, would you please describe an experience in the past during which you worked in a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing viewpoints and perspectives?
Okay. I don't know that I've had an opportunity to spearhead a board where, decisions were brought about. Again, I am in sales. I'm telling you, every day I address opposing viewpoints. The product that I carry, although is, functionally and manufacturing wise, one of the best on the market, it doesn't have the brand recognition that my competition has. So on a daily basis, I'm presenting, benefits, the old strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis for my customers. Also, when I do work with my customers, my concern is, for their bottom line. If I present myself and my company in that manner, I have found that to be successful.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Lieberman.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Joe.
Good evening, Mr. Lieberman. This is Rita Russell, council member at large. Thank you very much for taking the time to apply for a board and commission. What is it that you like most about Inglewood?
I like the planned growth that we've had. I really like the parks, just to be honest with you. I like the fact that I love the location. I mean, I can get on Santa Fe Boulevard and be in Colorado Springs or heading north. I can be in the tech center. We have some great independent businesses in our community. And again, I just love the feel that, the neighborhood feel that we have. I live in a quiet street. That works really well for me.
All right, that's great. Thank you very much.
You bet. Thank you.
Mr. Lieberman, I'm Cheryl Wink. I'm a city council member at large. Good evening. And my question for you is about the board that you expressed interest in, which is Parks and Rec. You already said that you really like our parks. Is there anything you've noted so far that you would like to see improved in Englewood's parks, just from your experience living here?
right now, as a dog owner, there's dog ownership in parks and whatnot. It's a pretty hot topic.
Really?
And yes, I think we need to diffuse the situation in some way. It seems that it's gotten a little out of hand, and with people signing petitions and what I read on next door. So
Okay.
I think, I'm sorry.
I said,
just
I
wish
was
we
saying,
could-
okay, excuse me.
I just wish we could come to some sort of and it's been going on forever. I just wish we could come to some amicable solution for all stakeholders, including those people that don't want dogs there. I mean, they have their rights as well, obviously.
Yeah.
But I wish we could come to some solution, some long-term solution that would be satisfactory to all the stakeholders.
Perfect. Well, we're on our way toward that. So thank you for bringing up that very important point. I'm going to sneak in another question just in case. If by chance we don't get you on a board or commission this time around, would you please be mindful about maybe applying again? I'm not saying that that's the case, but just in case. Thank you for being here tonight.
Absolutely. Positive. Yeah, definitely. And if something were to open up on, say, Keep Englewood Beautiful,
Yes.
I would be interested in that as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Great talking with you.
Thank you.
To the group, we are at that 8-minute mark now, or just a hair off of it. And good evening, Mr. Lieberman. My name is Dave Cuesta. I'm with District 4. And regular attendance and engagement with the board and commission are required. Will you be able to attend the scheduled meetings on a regular frequency?
I travel about 12 to 15 weeks a year for my job. If it would be acceptable to Zoom to a meeting, yes, then absolutely. If that's not, then I would like to probably work my schedule around the meetings that the Parks and Rec Commission will be having. I've got a lot of flexibility there.
Thank you, sir. I mean, certainly everything's by Zoom now, and at least the boards I'm on, people regularly call in or Zoom in. So I think that is an option, but we'll have that conversation as the group. And thanks again for applying. I appreciate it, sir.
Thank you very much.
And Mr. Lieberman, this is Mayor Pro Tem Sierra again, and the Parks and Rec Commission meets the second Thursday of every month. So in advance their schedule. But last question from me is, how will your service on the board or commission benefit you as an Inglewood citizen, either personally or professionally?
I honestly don't know that it will help me professionally. If I told my clients that I was serving on a board in Englewood, they'd probably think that's very admirable and they'd think higher of me. But really, the reason I'm here tonight is to contribute to the community for my own personal fulfillment. If we all just gave a little bit more to society, take according to need, give according to ability. Well, I have the time and I have the motivation and I have the energy to contribute to our great little town. And I would find that very rewarding.
That is an honorable reason, Mr. Lieberman. So thank you very much for that. Member Cuesta, do we have any time left for Mr. Lieberman to ask us questions?
We're near 10, but I'm sure we can make time if he has one.
Mr. Lieberman, do you happen to have any questions for the city council?
Yeah. One, how many positions are open between Parks and Rec and Keep Englewood Beautiful?
Let me take a look here. If anybody has the answer readily available.
5 total.
So 5 total positions across the different boards and commissions within Inglewood, Mr. Lieberman.
No, for 5 between Parks and Rec and Keep Englewood Beautiful, which is what he asked. Right?
Okay. I misunderstood.
Yeah, just for those 2.
One other question. Having not served, on a community board or anything like that in the past, would it be possible to like audit a meeting, because I want to make sure that I'm the right person for you as much as you want to make sure that I'm the right person for you.
No, that's a great question, Mr.
Possible to
Lieberman.
audit a meeting.
Yeah, so Mr. Lieberman, you do have the ability to go back and listen to the audios of each meeting. They are available on the Inglewood website. So we could definitely provide that information to you if you like, but we do have, and it goes back several years. So you do have the ability to see what the discussions are about and just understand the dynamics of the group.
And by
Also,
the way,
maybe-
my compliments on the Parks Master Plan. I've not read it cover to cover, but I've reviewed it, and that is extensive. I mean, you guys have really, or should I say the Parks and Rec Commission or whoever put that together has really done their homework.
We would definitely pass along the compliments to the Parks and Rec department here within the city of Inglewood. But thank you very much for that note, Mr. Lieberman. Without any questions, I appreciate your time tonight, and thank you very much for your interest in serving your community.
Thank you very much. Do you mind if I sign off and get back on the road?
That works. Drive safe tonight.
Thank you very much. Have a great
Thank you,
evening.
Mr. Lieberman.
Bye-bye.
Mayor Olson, you're at question 7, all right? And member Quest is keeping time as usual.
Thank you. And I'll let Mayor Pro Tem just keep leading. You're doing a great job.
Well, thank you, Mayor.
So who's next?
Ms. Dunning, are you available now? Can you hear us?
Yes, I am.
Good evening, Ms. Dunning. My name is Mayor Pro Tem Nathaniel Sierra. I represent District 1 here in the city of Inglewood. Thank you very much for your interest in serving a board or commission here in the city of Inglewood. We will be asking you a list of 7 questions. You have 10 minutes to answer those 7 questions. At the end of that time, if we have any time remaining, you are able to ask the city council any questions. So without any further ado, I'll go ahead and ask my first question, which is, what motivates you to apply for an Inglewood board or commission at this time?
Yeah, thanks for the question, for the time tonight. So professionally, I don't have experience, in city government or state level government or anything like that. But just personally, I think this is something I'm interested in being able to do to serve my neighborhood and my community. I really am interested in knowing more and learning more about the inner workings of city government. And like I said, just truly to positively impact my neighborhood and those around me in Inglewood.
I appreciate that, Ms. Dunning. Actually, I should have mentioned, you do have the ability to turn on your video if you so choose.
Oh, okay.
Thank you very much for your answer.
Hey, Mrs. Dunning, this is John Stone, Inglewood City Council Member at Large, and I've got question number 2 for you tonight. What knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to a board or commission? In particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the boards and commissions you marked as preferred? And I'm just going to add a little bit more to that. I happen to know what you do for a living, and I'm really interested in how you think that would be beneficial to the library commission.
Yeah. I, as my husband mentioned earlier, I'm a pediatric occupational therapist, and I'm the owner of Made to Play Pediatric Therapy. I started my company back in June, and I work with a diverse group of little ones with developmental disabilities and families with needs as well. So in terms of the skills that profession brings to a potential board, in my opinion, the best quality of a good OT is creativity. And so thinking about using creative spaces within a public library or a park to be accessible to those with lots of different needs, I think would be something that I could bring to a commission. I also think creative aspects of my job would potentially help with figuring out, when we don't have a lot to work with in terms of a budget or resources, getting creative there. I feel like that's another good quality of an OT. And then, just having the knowledge on a diverse group of people, who have developmental disabilities and how, they experience our environment and how they experience our community. I think my job definitely gives me the knowledge to be able to take that and look at, our public spaces like libraries and parks to make them work better for their needs.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, Ms. Dunning. I'm Joe Anderson, District 3 City Council member. Thanks for applying. My question tonight is, would you please describe an experience in the past during which you worked with a group of diverse and people who were diverse and had sometimes opposing views and perspectives?
Yeah, so inherently my job, in my opinion, I think I work with a lot of different types of people with lots of different needs. And so I think one of the hard parts of my job is having really hard and challenging conversations with families who maybe are not ready to hear these hard things or disagree with, my opinions. And so what I've learned in getting by in those types of hard conversations is compassion is really, really important. And then also being able to be a good listener and not just interject my thoughts and opinions and my knowledge or expertise, but listen to exactly the lived experience of all people. So being able to listen and have compassion for people, I think would be something that I would be able to apply to a board or commission.
Very good, thank you.
Good evening, Mrs. Dunning. This is Rita Russell. I'm council member at large. It's great to have you here this evening. And my question for you is, what do you like most about Englewood?
Yeah, so my favorite thing is the people. As my husband had mentioned, we moved from Texas about 4 years ago and have been in Englewood for a little over a year now. And one thing we realized living in Denver is, Denver's a pretty transient community. There's lots of in and lots of out, and you never know how long your neighbors are going to be around. So that's been one of our favorite things about buying a house here, our first home, getting to know our neighbors and knowing or having the thought of they're going to be around for a while and we're going to be around for a while. So yeah, the people and the relationships that we've formed in our neighborhood have definitely been our favorite thing.
Well, it's great to have you also. Thank you.
Brent Dunning, I'm Cheryl Wink, council member at large. Welcome. As I asked your husband earlier, I'll ask it specific to Keep Englewood Beautiful. So what particular facet about the board would you like to see improved at this point?
Yeah, so I think, again, my background as a pediatric OT and thinking about public spaces and accessibility, I think that's a really big improvement that I think a lot of our parks and even downtown spaces could be an area of improvement. I think Englewood has done a great job, mostly, at the parks in terms of sidewalk, things like that. But when we think about, a play space like a playground or even like the crossing walks, like all of those types of things for people with different needs, I think could be an area that I think could still use some improvement.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Good evening, Ms. Dunning. My name is Dave Cuesta, and I'm with District 4. For these meetings, regular attendance and engagement with the board and commission are required. Will you be able to attend the meetings with regular frequency?
Yes, sir. I sure can. I do a little bit of telehealth, but also I'm in the family's homes. But I do have a flexible work schedule, so I would regularly be able to attend.
Very good. And thank you again for applying to the group. We're at 7.5 minutes now.
I think I'm next. Hi, I'm Linda Olson. I'm mayor and also represent District 2. And the last question is, how do you think the service on the board and commission would benefit either yourself as personal or professionally?
So as I mentioned, in terms of what motivates me to apply for a board, I think, gaining knowledge and experience on the inner workings of city government, I think that personally benefits me. I think being able to know how our communities and our neighborhoods work and how to improve them is a really, really wholesome experience. So I just think it would be something that I would really enjoy doing personally. Professionally, I think it would allow me to assuming I can positively impact, public spaces in Inglewood, I think it would really allow me to show off just the beautiful spaces that Inglewood has to many of my clients. And yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Ms. Dunning, thank you very much for your answers tonight. Now you have the ability to ask us questions. So do you have any questions for us tonight?
I don't believe so. I appreciate the time.
Perfect. So Ms. Dunning, thank you very much for your time tonight. We'll be back in touch regarding next steps, and just thank you very much for wanting to serve your community.
Thank you. I appreciate
Have
it.
a great evening.
Take care.
And next up, I believe is Mr. Newell.
How are you doing tonight?
Not too bad. How are you doing tonight?
Very well, thank you.
Perfect. Mr. Newell, this is Othaniel Sierra, Mayor Pro Tem here in the city of Inglewood. I represent District 1. Thank you very much for your interest in serving the community. Tonight, we'll be asking you a list of 7 questions. You do have 10 minutes to answer those questions. If we have any time left over before the 10 minutes, you do have the ability to ask us any questions. And I believe you do have your video on. Yes, you do. I'm cycling back and forth between screens here. So I'll go ahead and get started with the first question. What motivates you to apply for an Inglewood board and commission at this time?
Yeah, so my wife and I bought here in Inglewood about just over a year ago, and I've been involved with some political activity in the past. I worked on a campaign in college, always been aware, and have really been thinking about with everything going on in the world is how can I have a larger impact in the place I'm going to call home for long term. Up until last year, I didn't really have a permanent home in terms of a place in Denver since I moved out of my parents' house in high school. Everything was just kind of transitional. So now that I'm here in Inglewood, I've loved my experiences over the last year, and I'm ready to really get more involved in the community and get involved with the direction of the city.
I really appreciate that answer, Mr. Noel. Thank you. Member Stone?
Hey, my name is John Stone. I'm Inglewood City Council member at large, and I've got question 2 for you. What knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to a board or commission? In particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the board or commission you mark as preferred?
Yeah, so I think I try and start with, generally speaking, an empathetic approach to interacting with people is understanding where they're coming from and trying to do it with a compassionate and positive attitude. There's a lot of challenges going on right now, and I think one of them is we can't even have the discussions we need to be having and get through our disagreements. So by just coming with an even-keeled and calm demeanor to have it, wanting to listen and learn, I don't want to change people's minds. I want to understand where they're coming from and really have a dialogue and discussion about it. So on the soft skills side, I think my approach will really help out. That in addition with some of my background, I've got an MBA from an international business school, working years in financial services industry, understanding how to navigate some of the bureaucratic nature of a large corporation. You take a lot of those skill sets, especially that soft skills I mentioned, to be able to be successful in those varying environments.
And you applied for the Budget Advisory Committee, is that right?
That was one, urban renewal and planning and zoning as well.
Awesome, thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Newell. This is Joe Anderson. I'm District 3 City Council member. Welcome tonight. And my question is, please describe an experience in the past during which you worked with a group of people that were diverse and had sometimes opposing views and perspectives.
Yeah, so I'll reference my international MBA. I studied and lived in Manchester, England for just under 2 years. My cohort was 115 classmates. They represented 30 different countries. So you had a wide spectrum of experiences, opinions, backgrounds, and diversity all the way through it. And what I learned, it's listening. It's not being afraid to say what you feel, but not invalidating other people's experiences, because we're all coming from different places. And we live in a world that's so complex that we have to create space for all of us to have our experiences, because then we can start to understand how those experiences impact each other. So being able to learn from 30 different countries around the world really helped me with that in terms of balancing those opposing viewpoints and diversity.
Very good, thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Newell. I'm Rita Russell, council member at large. It's great to have you here this evening. And since you're relatively new, what is it that you like most about Inglewood?
Using Bryn's answer, the people. I live right close to Duncan Park, and I heard John talking about the off-leash dogs. I've been fortunate enough to have good experiences over there, and it's not just having my dog be able to run around and play. It's talking to the neighbors and meeting everyone in the community. I recently went to a Chamber of Commerce event, and I just enjoyed talking to some of the business owners. I recently just started my own business as a financial advisor, so learning from them and hearing their experiences in the community. And then, of course, every time we just go out to eat, go shopping in Inglewood, whether it's Ted's, whether it's Breakfast Queen, we've just had such great experiences with the people that live here in Inglewood. It felt like home instantly when we moved here.
Great. It's good to have you here as well.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Newell, I'm Cheryl Link, council member at large. Hello. My question might not be applicable, so I want to ask you if there's anything about the Budget Advisory Committee, for example, that you might want to see improved, but you may not have particulars about our particular committee yet, or commission, but if there's anything you want to say about improvements on that board or any of the others in which you expressed interest, that would be great to just have an inkling of an idea with the time parameters in mind, of course.
Well, and I haven't dove into the budget too much. I do have experience reviewing city budgets and things like that. My most recent role was selling retirement plans to small governments. So spend a lot of time reviewing that type of thing. So I've got some experience around there. But I think that the question is especially hard for a budget advisory committee right now, because what's going to be the impact of the COVID world in terms of future revenues and things like that. So I think we got to be able to look at things and understand balancing the needs. Unfortunately, we can't just increase the size of the pie. It's limited. So how do you really have a discussion to say, what are the trade-offs? You know, this is the good and the bad of our decisions, and really have that open, honest, transparent discussion about what needs to happen for the city to continue in the right direction and continue the great growth and the great people we have moving here.
Excellent. That trade-off conversation is one I have every day at my work. I think we'll be really lucky to have you on one of our boards and commissions. So thanks for your interest, Mr. Newell.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Newell. My name is Dave Cuesta, and I'm with District 4. Regular attendance and engagement with the board and commission is required. And will you have the ability to attend all your regularly scheduled meetings?
Absolutely. It's a part of my commitment before I even apply to a board like this, is to make sure I can live up to what I want to accomplish and the impact I want to. So these meetings will be one of the first things on my calendar. It'll be budgeted out. And as a business owner myself, I can definitely have the flexibility to control the calendar the way I need to.
Very good. Thank you, sir. And I appreciate the application.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Newell. I'm Linda Olson. I represent District 2, and I'm also the mayor. Welcome to Inglewood. I'm so glad you picked us to live in our neighborhoods. So the last question is, how will your service on a board and commission benefit you as an Inglewood citizen, either personally or professionally?
Personally, it's a chance to have a positive impact in the community. I'm definitely one of those people that care a lot about the impact I have, and I'm excited to have the roots to be able to develop and grow that, and then get to know everyone, get to know the pulse of the community, and be a part, hopefully a positive part of steering it in the right direction. So that'd be personally. Professionally, as a financial advisor, the more people I meet, the better it is for my job. So just being able to talk to more people, interact with them. I'm not here to sell people, but just so they can get to know me. And if they have any interest in learning more about my business, I'm happy to have those conversations. But it's really more of a personal drive getting me here. And I do hope and suspect some professional benefits, but I'm driven by the personal side to join.
Thank you.
Mr. Newell, sorry for the overpronunciation of your name earlier. I always struggle with the last name. So, Member Cuesta, do we happen to have any additional time left for Mr. Newell to ask us any questions?
We just hit 8 minutes. We've got a couple minutes left.
Perfect. So, Mr. Newell, do you have any questions for this council?
I don't have a lot of questions. I think I got everything clarified when I was reading up before the meeting. So thank you.
Perfect. And actually, I do have one question. So you did state that you were interested in the BAC, Urban Renewal, and P&Z. Would there be any other boards or commissions you would be interested in if there was a position available?
I would be willing to have discussions about other boards. Like I said, that my main goal is just getting involved in the community and looking for a starting point. I chose the ones where I thought my background fit the best, but I'm happy to have discussions if you think there's a more appropriate board or there's a need that I can help fill.
I appreciate that. Mr. Noel, thank you very much for your attendance tonight, and thank you very much for wanting to serve your community.
Thank you. Have a great night.
Yeah, have a great evening.
You too. Take care.
And moving on. Give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second. Kind of hard to do this with one monitor. I don't know how people do this.
We have Marissa Lease next,
yeah.
if that's what you're looking for.
I am. Miss Lease, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you.
Good
Hi,
evening,
everyone.
good evening, Miss Lease. Thank you very much for making it tonight. I'm Nathaniel Sierra, I'm Mayor Pro Tem here in the city of Inglewood. I represent District 1. Thank you very much for your interest in serving your community. So tonight we will be asking you a list of 7 questions. You do have 10 minutes to answer those questions. If we have any time left over, you can ask any question of this council. So I'll go ahead and get started with my first question, if that comes up. And it is, what motivates you to apply for an Inglewood Board or Commission at this time?
Awesome, thank you. So my husband and I bought a house in Inglewood about 3 years ago, and I also work at a nonprofit near downtown Inglewood. I've been, very invested and involved with the greater Denver community for a while now, but after living here for about 3 years, I'm just really ready to focus some time and effort in this direct community where I live and work.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Ms. Lease.
Good evening, Ms. Lease. My name is John Stone. I'm Inglewood City Council Member at Large, and I've got question number 2, which is, what knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to a board or commission? And in particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the boards and commissions that you marked as preferred?
Absolutely. So I actually do spearhead a couple committees at work. And I'm really familiar with like collaboration in this kind of way, and also working at a nonprofit, really used to working on a tight budget. So like the creative skill set is definitely in my wheelhouse, and being creative on a budget is something I'm really comfortable doing.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good evening, Ms. Lease. My name is Joe Anderson, District 3 City Council Representative. Thank you for applying. And my question is, could you please describe an experience in the past during which you worked in a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views and perspectives?
Yeah, absolutely. Good question. So I'm the program manager at Big Brothers Big Sisters, and we serve about 1,000 families in the Metro Denver area, from Boulder to Montbello to Castle Rock and everything in between. So my work has really allowed me to work with folks from all different backgrounds and cultural backgrounds, communication styles, and just a big part of my job, and I've been in that job for about over 5 years now, is just having hard conversations, problem solving, no matter people's backgrounds, and just meeting everyone where they're at so we can move forward together. So it's definitely something I'm really comfortable doing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Good evening, Mrs. Lease. This is Rita Russell. I'm council member at large. It's good to have you here this evening. I have question number 4. What is it that you like most about Inglewood?
Yeah, I love a lot of things about Inglewood. I think for me, moving from downtown Denver, I just really love the small town feel down here. Really love my neighbors and just how we all really look out for each other. And I know someone was talking earlier, we just really love the businesses down here. It's really important for us, like shopping small. And so we love going out in Inglewood and putting our money back into the community here.
Absolutely. Great to have you. Thank you very much.
Marissa Lease, I'm Cheryl Wink, council member at large. Hello.
Hi.
And as you know, my question is about any improvements you'd like to see in the city pertaining to maybe the board/commission that you're most interested in joining. If you have anything to speak to, that'd be great.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. I don't know. I put Keep Inglewood Beautiful and also the Cultural Arts Commission. I just think there's already so much good work being done. I think just keeping folks engaged in that work, more sustainable practices across the board in our city are always great. And I would also love to see, I've noticed there's been so much art that's popping up, all these murals, and I am like so pro all this art that's been popping up. I think it really helps with crime and city feel and just makes everyone really invested in being here. So I'm really passionate about that too.
That's super. Thank you so much, Marissa.
Yeah.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
Hello, Ms. Lees. My name is Dave Cuesta, and I'm with District 4. The sixth question that I have for you tonight is regular attendance and engagement with the board and commission is required. Will you be able to attend the scheduled meetings regularly?
Yes, absolutely. I made sure of that before I applied. Yep,
Very good. Thank you, and I appreciate you applying to the commissions.
definitely. Thank you.
Thanks, Ms. Lees. This is Linda Olson. I think I've met you before, maybe even.
Oh,
But I really appreciate the Big Brothers and Big Sisters and what you're doing there. But I represent District 2 in the city and also mayor. And the last question we have for you is, when you think about the ways in which you might personally or professionally benefit from being on a board and commission, what would those things be?
I think for me personally, I talk about community a lot in the work that I do, and that's just kind of why I'm doing this. I think just being engaged and having a voice in your community is so crucial, you know, encouraging others to be engaged in their community. So I definitely think it would benefit me across the board and just benefit the greater community the more people get engaged and involved.
Great, thank you.
Ms. Lees, thank you very much for your answers tonight. Do you happen to have any questions for this council?
I don't think I have any questions, no.
Oh, well, I really appreciate your time tonight. We'll be back in touch regarding the next steps in terms of positioning for each of the boards. I did make note that you were interested in some other boards and commissions, but other than that, thank you very much for your time tonight, and thank you very much for your willingness to serve the community.
Yeah, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Lees. And I believe do we have a break coming up here?
We do.
Look at that, right on schedule.
Right on
So
time.
we'll take a 10-minute break. So we'll have a break up till 7:10. So,
I have a question.
Yeah,
Is
remember,
anybody Nathaniel?
I'm sorry, could you say that again?
Is there anybody waiting that's here early?
I don't believe so. It looks like, I guess I'll ask Jackie, do we have anybody waiting? Do we have Mark waiting for 7:10?
There's not. Nope.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's anybody.
We're good.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. All right, so we'll meet up again at 7:10.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Hey, Mark.
Hey, Jackie.
We're on a 10-minute break, so they will come back at 7:10. So just be hanging, and I'm going to put you on mute right now, and I'll unmute you right before your interview.
Okay.
Okay? Okay, cool.
Sounds cool.
Are you really only using one screen tonight, Nathaniel?
Yeah, it's killing me. It's just so difficult.
But I'm so addicted to a second screen, I can't do anything.
Well, it's not popping up. I have a second screen here, but it's just only allows me one monitor. So I tried messing with it, but it's not working. So I think I had to restart my computer for it to work, but I'm not going to be doing that.
That's frustrating.
Hello, this is Mark.
Good evening, Mark. This is Mayor Pro Tem here. I think we're still on break for about another minute. So thank you very much for joining though. Let me just take a look here.
No problem.
Just waiting for a couple other council members to jump on and then we'll get started with the questions. And Mark, I'll ask you right now, I'm sure I'm going to butcher your last name, but is it Oganoski?
Oganoski. Yep, you got it.
Perfect.
Yep.
You're being kind. I still butchered your name.
Oh, don't worry about it. You are more than fine, Mayor.
Well, I appreciate that as Mayor Pro Tem, but no, I completely get it. Everyone butchers my first name, so I completely understand. And I believe we may have everyone on now. So Mr. Ogonoski, thank you very much for applying to serve your community. My name is Nathaniel Sierra. I'm Mayor Pro Tem here in the city of Inglewood, representing District 1. Tonight, we're going to ask you a list of 7 questions. You do have 10 minutes to answer those 7 questions. At the end of those 7 questions, you are able to ask the City Council, if time permitting, any questions you have. So I'll go ahead and start with the first question here. If I could get my screen to pop up. So my question is, what motivates you to apply for an Inglewood Board or Commission at this time? Mr. Ogonoski, you're on mute.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Did you hear my question?
Yes. What motivates me to serve on an Inglewood Board or Commission?
That's correct.
Okay. What motivates me the most is probably my eagerness to serve the citizens of Inglewood and also to serve my community because I just enjoy this kind of stuff. I mean, I've enjoyed politics for a very long time. I mean, I have a background in serving in boards already. As you know, I serve 2 presently. And I just love serving the citizens of Inglewood.
I'm sorry, Mike, you broke up on that last sentence. I missed it.
I
I'm not
said
sure
that
if
I serve
anybody
on
else
2 boards presently. Okay. And I just love serving the citizens of the city of Inglewood because they're great citizens. I mean, they're great people to serve.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ogonoski. Member Stone?
Thank you. Welcome, Mr. Ogonoski. My name is John Stone. I'm Inglewood City Council member at large, and I have question number 2 for you, which is what knowledge, skills, and or abilities would you bring to a board or commission? And in particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the boards and commissions that you marked as preferred?
Okay. How I would best serve, you said, and how I bring my skills, you say?
Yeah, to the boards that you applied for.
Okay, well, how I bring my skills to the boards I applied for and all that and how I serve them. I have, like I said, I have a background in marketing and accounting. I was in marketing and accounting in high school. I was very involved with DECA, FBLA. I was very involved with my community in the fact that I've done some billing and coding for a doctor's practice for a long time. And I just really feel like I would serve my boards and all that very faithfully and very truthfully and very honestly and full of integrity because that's the way I just serve. I mean, that's just my motto. I mean, integrity does play a big role into my life.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
No problem.
Good evening, Mr. Ogonoski. This is Joe Anderson, District 3 City Council member. Please describe an experience in the past during which you worked in a group of diverse and people with sometimes opposing viewpoints and perspectives.
Okay, well, to describe a time I've worked with somebody with opposing viewpoints, that would have to go back all the way to my pharmacy days when I was working with a pharmacist and all that, who was basically not the easiest person in the world to work with because
I think he got muted again.
You actually muted yourself, I think.
I'm here.
Can you repeat that? I didn't catch the answer there. But you were talking about when you work in the pharmacy, but I didn't hear the rest of the answer.
I was saying that I had a pharmacist who was unethical and all that. They used to do things that were very, very not professional. So basically the way I handled it is I basically reported him to my supervisor and he took care of the issue.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Ogonoski. This is Rita Russell, City Council member at large. And thank you for being here tonight. I have question number 4. What is it that you like most about the city of Inglewood?
What do I like most about the city of Inglewood? Well, I would have to say I love the people here. I mean, the people here are very wonderful. I mean, the citizens are all wonderful people. I mean, you city council are extremely friendly with people who serve alongside you. I mean, because that's what a lot of us enjoy. I mean, we just are thoroughly blessed to have a city council that actually cares.
That's great. Thank you very much.
You're more than welcome.
Mr. Ogonowski, I'm Cheryl Wink, council member at large. Good evening. My question to you is, if you would kindly speak to, we'd love to hear your opinion on any facet of the city that could be improved that pertains to one of the boards that you're interested in.
Any facet that could be improved in the city of Englewood? Well, I would have to say.
Yes.
I would have to say, very honestly, I would have to say the only thing that needs to be improved upon is maybe the Parks and Rec a little bit.
Okay, wonderful. The dog park situation or something
No,
else?
just the Parks and Rec, like for example, where children can go and have it and feel safe there.
Very good. Very good. That's interesting. Good. Thank you very much, Mr. Ogonowski. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hello, Mr. Ogonowski. My name is Dave Cuesta, and I'm with District 4. Regular attendance is required for all these meetings. Is that something you'll have any trouble meeting?
No, I haven't had a problem making a meeting yet. I mean, I do serve 2 boards presently, and I really love the boards I'm on.
Very good. Well, thank you for your service thus far and for continuing to want to do it. Mayor Pro Tem, we're at 7 minutes now, so we've got 3 to go from here. Thank you again, Mr. Ogonowski.
Thank you, Dave.
Hi, Mr. Ogonowski. This is Linda Olson. I serve, represent District 2 and am the mayor. And the last question we wanted to ask you is related to how your service on the board and commissions might benefit you as an Englewood citizen, either personally or professionally.
Well, I can say it from both perspectives. Professionally, I can say that it helps me out with my resume and all that. And personally, I just feel like it's a gratitude thing. I mean, because like I said, I feel very grateful that you've asked me to serve on boards, serve alongside you, city council, because you are the backbone of the city. I mean, we look up to you for advice, guidance, government.
Thank you. I wonder, Mayor Pro Tem, do you mind if I ask a follow-up?
Yes, go ahead, Mayor.
Mr. Ogonowski, I think that you serve on 2 boards. It's the, is it KEB? No, it's Englewood Housing Authority, right? And the pension board, is that right?
That's correct.
And we've talked quite a bit about how many boards and commissions someone should serve on. Can you just tell us a little bit about what your experience has been like on those 2 and how that's been going for you?
I think it's been going very, very well. I mean, I've been learning a lot from all the people I've served alongside with yourself, Joe Anderson. I mean, I'm just very grateful for all of you. I mean, you guys have a very, very, I would have to say, tough job. Because, I mean, you guys are very limited as far as what you can do, as far as, I mean, your job description says you can do. But in reality sense, I mean, I love serving on those boards and I have had a good experience thus far. I mean, I have a meeting this Thursday with the firefighters pension board and I'm looking forward to that. I mean, and I would love to serve one more board if possible.
Thank you. And thank you for serving on the pension board as well. We need you. So I appreciate you being there. I'll see you on Thursday.
Yeah, and that's it. 4 o'clock, you said, Mayor?
I cannot remember. I know it's in my calendar.
I think it's 4 o'clock.
One tomorrow too. Thank you.
Mr. Ogonowski, I believe you may have a minute. Do you happen to have any questions for us?
No. When do you guys make the decision on these boards?
So we will have a discussion tonight regarding placement of individuals within a board of commissions. The final decision, I believe, will happen in December or January. I think we still haven't received the timeline, but we will have a discussion tonight after all the interviews on potential placement. So
Okay, I mean, there's one board that I'm very interested in serving.
Would that be
Election
CAC and
Commission.
Code Enforcement Advisory Commission? Was that correct, Mr. Ognowski?
No, Election Commission.
Oh, the Election Commission. Okay.
Oh.
I had that one listed. But thank you very much for letting us know.
And just to inform you, it is at 4 on Thursday. Just had to look and make sure.
Thank you, Mayor Olson. I appreciate that.
Mr. Ognowski, thank you very much for your time tonight. Thank you very much for your willingness to serve the community even more than you do now. So thank you very much for your time tonight.
No problem at all, guys. You guys all be safe, okay?
Have a great evening.
Thanks, you too.
Thank you. Ms. Donaldson, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Good evening, Ms. Donaldson. This is Othaniel Sierra, Mayor Pro Tem here in the city of Inglewood, representing District 1. Ms. Donaldson, feel free to turn on your video if you so choose. It's not required, but giving you that option. So tonight we will be going through a list of 7 questions. You have 10 minutes to answer those 7 questions. If there's any time left over, you are able to ask City Council any questions. So I'll go ahead and get started. Actually, before I get started, Ms. Donaldson, I noticed that you did not mention any board or commission that you were interested in. You don't have to answer now, but by the end of the 10 minutes, if there's a board or commission that you do prefer, just let us know. But my first question is, what motivates you to apply for an Inglewood board or commission at this time?
Thanks. Well, good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me. I have previously served on a commission. I was on Keep Inglewood Beautiful for 3 years and have been involved with other initiatives within the city. I recently just started a registered neighborhood group. I'm working to build that. And I'm just really looking to contribute in other ways to the city again. I miss being on a commission, and with the pandemic, my commitments have certainly become less than they used to be. So I have time available and am looking for an opportunity to contribute more. And I'm sorry that that wasn't on the application. Urban Renewal Authority is my preferred option in this round.
I appreciate that, Ms. Donaldson. I'll go ahead and look over your application again. I think I may have missed it though, but thank you very much.
No worries.
Ms. Donaldson, my name is John Stone. I'm a city council member at large. And first of all, I wanted to say thank you for the email you sent earlier today about the neighborhood. That's really cool. I'm very excited about it. My question for you is, what knowledge, skills, and or abilities would you bring to a board or commission? In particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the board or commission that you marked as preferred?
Okay, that's a loaded question. So I'll speak about the commission that I applied for. I studied architecture and planning in college and have worked my whole career in various components of community development. So I've worked professionally in housing, transportation, disaster recovery. I currently work for the Department of Education Capital Construction Program, where we fund school construction projects around the state. So I currently am in the construction field. So I think all of those skill sets and my real passion for community development and sustainable development would really be beneficial for this particular position. I think the second part, I forgot what the second part of the question was.
I think you pretty much answered it, to be honest. It was just, how will you be positive, have a positive impact for Inglewood in this particular commission? But I think you did a pretty good job of covering it. So, yeah.
Thanks. And I'll just add one other thing too. I am involved in a lot of ways with the city, and I would like to see more young people involved. And so I think that's one of the things that I find really important. The city's growing and changing, and there are a lot of really dedicated citizens participating, but I would like to open that up and get more people involved as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Good evening, Ms. Donaldson. I think my audio cut out when you were answering Mayor Pro Tem's question. Did you say which commission you're interested in?
Yes, the Urban Renewal Authority.
Okay, very good. Thank you. All right, here's my question. Please describe an experience in the past during which you worked in a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views and perspectives.
That is a good question. I think that happens daily in my job. I work with a small team at my current job, and there are 4 of us that are all regional program managers. So we're doing the same job in different areas of the state. And we all have different ways of doing that and different ideas on what success looks like. So we're constantly having conversations, discussing different viewpoints, and coming to a consensus after that discussion. So I think I do that daily right now.
Very good. Thank you.
Good evening, Ms. Donaldson. Thank you for coming tonight. My question for you, I apologize. I'm Rita Russell, council member at large. And so my question for you is, what do you like most about Inglewood?
That's a good question. I like a lot of things. My husband and I have lived here now for about 5 years, but we grew up in the area. So lifelong Colorado residents. And I really just love the sense of community here. You know, we've really got to know a lot of our neighbors and made really good friends through working on commissions and other events in the city. And it feels like a small town in a much larger context. We have great amenities, great access to different things. And I think there's also, like I said, a lot of opportunity to make the city even better than it is right now. And, you know, I really look forward to seeing what happens in the coming years here as well.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Meg. It's good to see you again.
Hi, you too.
I was very grateful to see your email today as well. And Council, Meg, I thank you for taking care of the Cushing Park neighborhood. Meg organized the cleanup the other day at Cushing Park, and several people came. We did a lot. And now your official status. So thank you for all your work so far, Meg. I was really glad to see that you're interested in the Urban Renewal Authority also. So what's perhaps one initiative you'd like to see so far change within the Urban Renewal Authority space in Englewood?
That's a good question. Well, I think there's a lot happening, and I think I'm very interested in learning more detail about all of that. I've been following the Downtown Matters pretty closely, participated in the survey around the Unified Development Code, and I think that there's just a lot of thought going into what our community should look like. And I think there's a lot of opportunity, especially in the downtown urban corridor from light rail all the way to Broadway and the hospitals. So I'm excited to see what's going to come of that big effort. And
good. Yeah, there is a lot happening. Great. I figured you'd be very plugged in, knowing what I know about you. So thanks again for your interest, Meg.
Thank you.
Yep.
Good evening, Ms. Donaldson. My name is Dave Cuesta, and I'm with District 4. Regular attendance and engagement with the board and commission is required. Will you be able to attend the scheduled meetings regularly?
Yes. Yep. I'm very free and have the time set aside to dedicate to this, so not a problem.
Terrific. Thank you for the interest here and for the service to the community. And to the group, we're right at about 8 minutes now.
Thanks. Hi, Ms. Donaldson. I'm Linda Olson, and I represent District 2, and I'm also the mayor. And the last question we have is, how will your service on a board or commission benefit you as an Englewood citizen, either personally or professionally?
I think there's benefits in both regards. As I mentioned, I just started a registered neighborhood group, and I think having connection with things that are happening in the city. I live just north of City Center, so near Cushing Park, as Cheryl mentioned. So we are really close to the downtown area where there's a lot happening. And I think, personally being aware of those and being able to share with my community is really important to me. And professionally, as I mentioned, I've worked in community development, and my passion really is around how to make cities better and more accessible and community-based. So I think that professionally, it really ties in well with what I do now and what I would like to do in the future. So.
Great, thank you. I also wanted to ask if there are any other boards or commissions, simply because urban renewal does not necessarily do a whole lot right now. It could get reactivated with some of the things that we could be thinking about, but it's not as active right now.
Yeah, the others that I had been interested in the past, the Transportation Advisory Committee, as well as Parks and Rec. Again, those are kind of community development oriented groups. And so those would also be of interest, but I don't think that there were seats available on those. So
okay.
I might have been mistaken. But
yeah, and you were on KEB before, right?
I was, yes, yeah. For 3 years. Yeah.
Thank you.
Ms. Donaldson, I believe you have a minute left. Do you have any questions for the group?
I don't think so. You're trying to make decisions here soon and notifying people in the post start January. Is that correct?
That's correct. I believe the post actually starts the beginning of February, if I remember correctly. But yeah, we will make a decision either during the first council meeting in December or the first council meeting after the holidays in January. But we will have a discussion tonight.
Okay, great. Well, thank you all for your work and for your time tonight. I appreciate it.
No, thank you, Ms. Donaldson. Thank you very much for your wanting to serve the community even further. Thank you so much.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Mr. Conrad, I believe you're next. Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries.
I knew that was going to happen to me at some point. So, Ms. Conrad, thank you very much for making it tonight. My name is Nathaniel Sierra. I'm the Mayor Pro Tem here in the city of Inglewood. I represent District 1. Tonight, we're going to be asking you 7 questions regarding your wanting to join a board or commission. You will have 10 minutes to answer those questions. If there is any time left, you can ask this city council any questions. So I'll go ahead and get started with the first question. And question is, what motivates you to apply for an Inglewood board or commission at this time?
Yeah, so I am really interested in being involved in my community. I've been in Inglewood now for almost 5 years. And I just find myself hoping to get more involved, know what's happening in the city, and really have some input and helping it evolve to new heights and new places. In all the places I lived in Durango for 13 years previous to this, and I was extremely involved in that community, and I just miss it. I miss feeling that connection, which has brought me to applying to this. I also recently graduated with my master's degree back in December, and the pandemic hit, and so I need more projects and things to do because I'm currently not working. So I feel like this is a good way for me to stay involved in the world and you know, hopefully contribute to Inglewood.
No, I appreciate that answer, Ms. Conrad. Thank you so much. Member Stone?
Thank you. Hi, I'm John Stone. I'm Inglewood City Council member at large, and I've got question number 2 for you. What knowledge, skills, and or abilities would you bring to a board or commission? And in particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the board that you marked as preferred?
Yeah, so I feel like I have a background of working with young people. I've mostly worked in youth programming throughout my career in teaching. I also have a background in sociology. And so I feel like just having a broad background in facilitating and working with young people. Maybe I applied for the Arts Commission, which isn't, I did for a long time work with Girl Scouts as well, which we did a lot of art and craft projects. So I would not say I'm necessarily an expert in arts, but I feel like my background of working with people and teaching and learning about stuff in great depth would make me an asset to the board.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Excellent answer.
Good evening, Ms. Conrad. My name is Joe Anderson. I'm the District 3 City Council representative. My question tonight is, please describe an experience in the past during which you worked in a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views and perspectives.
Yes, so I for many years worked for Girl Scouts of Colorado, and my job was to oversee 500 volunteers. And I will tell you, working with 500 volunteers, you get a lot of different backgrounds, beliefs, and ambitions, and they don't always work they don't always come together peacefully. And so a lot of times we have to mediate and collaborate and really push through to get the end results, which obviously was serving the girls. And so I think that working for Girl Scouts has really given me a lot of experience in working with a diverse group of people to meet a mission.
Very good. Good answer. Thank you.
Good evening, Ms. Conrad. I'm Rita Russell, council member at large. It's very nice to have you here this evening. My question for you is, what is it that you like most about Inglewood?
Well, the things I love. So I love that Inglewood does have a small town feel in a city. And I love that I have access both to the city and also like good rec centers. And I love our library. We have the most incredible library and our parks. And that my husband can bike to downtown from Inglewood, which when he was in the office, he used to do on a regular basis. And I see families now. I see families everywhere. Really, the last couple of years, I've noticed how much in my neighborhood, there's so many more families, all of us with young little toddlers running around. So I'm just excited. I've loved living in Inglewood, and I'm also excited for the amount of young people here right now.
That really is exciting. I have quite a few young people on my block as well, which has been a huge changeover. So I think Inglewood's a great place to live too. Thank you very much.
Oh, and I love the schools, having worked at Bishop.
Okay.
Hello, Kyle Conrad. I'm Cheryl Wink, council member at large. Is there anything that you feel you'd like to see change in Englewood with respect to, or improve, not necessarily change, but let's say with respect to Cultural Arts Commission, because you mentioned that and you seem to have a drawing there.
Yeah, so I would love to see more art incorporated throughout Inglewood, and getting definitely young people and young families more involved in Inglewood with maybe, I don't know, I would love to see more festivals and ways to be involved for family and children, in the sense of like, when I grew up near Fort Collins, Loveland, you could do these art walks, or like when I think of the Santa Fe Art District, like walking downtown and the way that brings everyone out, and there's so much happening and so much beautiful art and performances and expression, like different activities for families to be involved in or for people to be involved in. Like I would love to see that for Inglewood. And I don't think we have that right now. Like we don't have, like I don't feel a connection to like the Santa Fe Art Walk or the Fort Collins Art Gallery Night Walk. Like, so I would love to see something like that here that I think could happen.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Good evening, Ms. Conrad. My name is Dave Cuesta, and I'm with District 4. Regular attendance and engagement with the board and commission is required. Will you be able to attend these scheduled meetings regularly?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you for being here tonight. I'm Linda Olson and represent District 2 and also the mayor. And our last 7th question is, how would your service on a board or commission benefit you as an Englewood citizen, either personally or professionally?
Well, I think definitely I just having some input in my town is fulfilling, and feeling like I left a little stamp of my mark in contributing to Inglewood. I also feel like, you know, whenever you're on a commission, I just finished my service with the Civil Rights Commission of Colorado. And I just think it's so important for us to have input. And so I feel like this will give me the opportunity again to have input on a more local level. And of course, on commissions, you gain new skills. And so I'm hoping too, professionally, that I just develop new skills in whatever way that I serve on the commission that may benefit me as I transition into a new job.
And if I could ask one follow-up, if there were any other boards or commissions that you would be interested in. You have a strong interest in volunteerism, it seems, and Keep Inglewood Beautiful does quite a bit of that. We have a few openings there as well. I don't know if that interests you at all.
Yeah, that would interest me as well. I was thinking about the library too, and I also thought about the trash one just because I would love to see composting available in Inglewood, as well as recycling and trash for the city. I just think that would be huge, but I didn't see openings to apply to that one. So I decided to stick with the arts, but yes.
That one's actually a very short ad hoc committee as we're making our decision whether to do single trash hauling or not. Yeah. But thank you. Thank you for that input.
Ms. Conrad, thank you very much for your answers tonight. Do you happen to have any questions for this body? I believe you have about a minute left.
Not a whole lot, but when will you be making your decisions?
So, Ms. Conrad, we will be having a discussion here in about 20 minutes or so. We have, I believe, 2 more interviews. So we'll have a discussion tonight. At that point, we may be making suggestions in terms of where to place everyone from tonight. The final decision will actually happen during a city council meeting, either the first meeting in December or the first meeting in January. So regardless, we will keep you posted on where we are in the process.
Okay, great. I don't think I have any other questions at the moment.
Well, Ms. Conrad, thank you very much again for your time tonight. Thank you very much for your willingness to serve the city of Inglewood. So thank you very much.
Thank you for all you do too. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
You too.
And Robert Watson, I believe, is next. Mr. Watson, can you hear us?
I can.
Good evening, Mr. Watson. This is Nathaniel Sierra. I'm Mayor Pro Tem here in the city of Inglewood. I represent District 1. Thank you very much for your time tonight. So, Mr. Watson, tonight we're going to ask you 7 questions regarding your interest in serving a border commission. You do have about 10 minutes to answer those questions. If there's any time available, you can ask some questions of City Council. I'll go ahead and get started with the questions. And before I get started, it looks like you are a member of the Election Commission at this point. So it looks like that the only opening that you asked to join was for the Parks and Rec Commission. Do I have that correct, Mr. Watson?
For both of those, correct, yes.
Okay, perfect. So I'll ask my question, and then we may ask if you have an interest in serving any other boards or commissions if available. So my first question would be, what motivates?
But he did have his video on. He might want to turn it on. I don't know.
Yeah,
Mr.
I can. It says you can't start the video because your host has stopped. Oh, there it goes. Nope. Yep. Okay.
We got you.
Hi there.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. So my first question is, what motivates you to apply for an Inglewood Border Commission at this time?
I've lived in Inglewood for close to 30 years. I've raised my kids here. I spent all my time in the Inglewood youth organizations and sports organizations. And now that they're gone, I want to be a little more involved in the community if I can be.
That's a great answer. Thank you very much, Mr. Watson.
Hey, Mr. Watson, my name is John Stone. I'm Inglewood City Council member at large, and I have question number 2 for you, which is what knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to a board or commission? In particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the boards and commissions that you marked as preferred?
For my part in this, I've been a project manager. I've come up through different paths. I've been a director of IT in the city of Inglewood for a small company. I've also been a programmer in a small company here in Inglewood. I've primarily stayed and lived in this area, very proud of it. And everything that I have done, I would like to continue to do at a higher level and be able to help the community, or maybe help isn't the right word, but try to extend myself so that I can help the community in anything that I can do. But I saw the Parks and Recreation one as a possibility simply because my kids did play in sports. I have 2 dogs. I'm very much a park person and I like going to the parks, and I would like to see those facilities, 1, kept up, and 2, kept up in good stand.
Awesome. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Watson. My name is Joe Anderson. I'm District 3 City Council member. My question tonight is, please describe an experience in the past during which you worked in a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views and perspectives.
I work in the I don't want to, well, entertainment and information and communications. I've worked at the Rocky Mountain News for 11 years. I was at Dish Network for 10 years. And I've also currently work at Spectrum. I work with a variety of individuals and in a variety of different roles, including decision maker and schedule keeper, if you will. As far as the inclusiveness and the sorry, I'm trying to keep track of everything. The decisions being made as far as a group of people that don't always agree. I've literally lived in that world for the last 30 years. That there are specifics I could go into. I was also in the Navy for 4 years. I served aboard an aircraft carrier with distinction. I made E5 inside of 3 years. I don't know, I can't say one specific thing, but I can say cumulatively I've done so much and worked with so many people with so many opposing views and different views. It's fun, actually.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Watson.
Sure.
Good evening, Mr. Watson. I'm Rita Russell, City Council Member at Large. It's great to have you here this evening. Thank you for the service you've already put in to the community, but especially for your service to our country. The question that I have for you this evening is, what is it that you like most about Inglewood?
The sense of community, you get a small town feel, yet we're expanded enough where we're kind of a larger size city. Having the different, the downtown Broadway is one of the best places to go because you have a lot of small businesses, a lot of large businesses. The mix is very nice and the environment is actually very nice there. And it's all the way down. It's not just through downtown, it's all the way down. I mean, even the car dealerships, I know it's crazy, but we bought a car not too long ago. It was great going down Broadway and being able to go down and look at walk through all the car lots and talk to people. And there's small car lots, there's large car lots. It's a variety. And it's one of the things that really I like about this city as well.
Thank you very much. I think Inglewood's a great place to live too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Watson, what are your views of the Election Commission of Englewood? I know it's not a group that meets as regularly as most others do, but what feedback might you have? Just curious about your points of view there.
Realistically, we don't really do very much. That's my complaint, I guess you could say, is our elections are literally run out of Arapahoe County. They run all the pieces and parts to the election. We do, other than agreeing with what they're doing, it's minimal at best.
That's a fair answer. Thank you very much for that. And thank you for being here tonight and for your interest in serving the city.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. My name is Dave Cuesta and I'm with District 4. Regular attendance and engagement with the board and commission is required. Will you be able to attend the scheduled meetings regularly?
I will. I can, yes. I don't have any complaints or conflict. I can move my schedule around as needed for my work. Currently, I'm working from home, have been since March, and my schedule is very flexible.
Very good. Thank you, sir, and thank you for the interest in serving.
Sure. Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Watson. I'm Linda Olson, and I represent District 2 and also the mayor. And I get to ask you the last question, which is number 7, and how your service on a board or commission, and this one in particular, might benefit you as an Englewood citizen, either personally or professionally.
Personally, as I said before, I use the parks. I have dogs. I've had families or kids here, and I continue to use them personally myself. I see needs that can be fixed in a lot of the parks. Mainly they need to be cleaned up a little better. They need to be, maybe a little maintenance that can be done a little bit better. And I think maybe some sign postage and some other things can be done a little bit better as well, as far as dogs, dog areas, not dog areas, things like that, keeping kids separated from those kind of things. I haven't seen any problems necessarily, but I've seen the potential for problems, and I would like to be part of the solution.
Great. I'd like to ask a little follow-up with it. Have you taken a look at the strategic plan for the parks by chance at all?
I did glance at it, yes.
Oh, okay, so you're familiar with that. And then, and are you familiar with the dog off-leash issues that we've been trying to address, and have any perspective on ways to do that the best?
Yeah,
which comes out of this committee to help give us ideas.
Correct, and I agree. The off leash, I believe, might be a little too liberally enforced right now. It's, I go to Rotolo Park for a walk. I'll walk, and there's small dogs off leash. There's no signage that that's a leash, that park is not a leashed park, and it is. There needs, I believe there just needs to be some signage, and possibly a penalty on the signage or something along those lines. Just something so that people know there's consequences for not following the actions.
Great, thank you. I ask it only to find out if you know a little bit about, what's, it's a challenge for us. So having.
I do, and I agree it is. I like I said, I go down there, I'm down at Jason. I understand that's an off-leash park, and that's just perfectly fine. But there are issues. I think there just needs to be some talk. I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for, I remember when you interviewed to do the election, and that is not one that meets very much at all. So thank you for at least being there when we need you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Again, I didn't realize it was going to be as minimal attendance as it was. So I'm looking to get more involved.
Mr. Watson, before we have you leave tonight, you just state just Parks and Rec. Are there any other boards or commissions that you would be interested in serving in if there's no placement within Parks and Rec?
I would be open to almost any.
Okay. Perfect. So, member Cuesta, do we have any time left for Mr. Watson to ask questions of this council?
We have hit our 10 at this point, but I think we're near the end. I certainly wouldn't mind if he cares to ask questions, but open to the group.
So I'll just ask Mr. Watson if you have a quick question for us. We could definitely answer. So
I don't. I'm very, very happy with how things are going in Inglewood, to be honest with you. So.
Well, I appreciate that, Mr. Watson. Thank you very much for making time for us tonight. Thank you for your interest in serving the community even further. And you have yourself a great evening.
Great. Thank you. I very much appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Watson.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
And Tanya Spencer.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Ms. Spencer, good evening. This is Nathaniel Sierra, Mayor Pro Tem here in the city of Inglewood, as well as representing District 1. Ms. Spencer, thank you very much for making time for us tonight. Tonight we'll be asking you 7 questions regarding your interest in serving a board or commission. You do have 10 minutes to answer those questions. If there's any time left over, you can ask any question of this council. And if you do choose to turn on your video, you're free to do so. It's not required, but just wanted to give you that heads up before I ask a question.
Thank you.
And we can see you.
Okay.
So good evening, Ms. Spencer. So I'll start off with my first question. What motivates you to apply for an Inglewood board or commission at this time?
My family is 3rd generation natives of Colorado. My dad grew up in Inglewood and also served on city council. My aunt also worked in the building permit department. My grandparents resided in Inglewood for 60 some odd years. So I'm familiar with the city and its growth. I would love to be a part of the future with the city and be more involved. My background is in mortgages and loans. I've been doing that for about 20 years. So I've worked also in the grocery stores and have a tremendous amount of just dealing with the general public, dealing with the people in my community. And the whole reason why I wanted to serve the city in the best possible capacity with my background and familiarity with Inglewood growth. I just feel like I just want to have a huge part in the growth of the city.
I appreciate that, Ms. Spencer. And just a follow up, just to make sure I have this correctly, you are interested in just the Inglewood Housing Authority at this time? Do I have that correct?
I actually am interested in any of the boards that I could possibly serve on. The Inglewood Housing was one of my primary interests because that's what I've been doing for the last 20 years, is being in the housing mortgage industry. So that would be a primary, but I'm interested in probably 2 or 3 other boards that you had available. And that would be the Building and Permits Appeals, the Renewal, and the Water Board.
Thank you so much, Ms. Spencer. Member Stone?
Hi, Ms. Spencer. My name is John Stone. I'm Inglewood City Council member at large, and I have question number 2 for you tonight, which is what knowledge, skills, and/or abilities would you bring to a board or commission? And in particular, how will you provide a positive benefit to Inglewood through your service on the boards and commissions that you just told us you're interested in?
I've lived in different areas in Colorado, as being that it's kind of been on the outskirts of Inglewood, with Denver, Littleton, and then now that I'm in Inglewood, and I've just taken a serious interest in the growth that I've seen in Inglewood just over the past couple of years. I used to read the council minutes when my dad was serving on city council, and it just, to me, there's so much passion in the residents of Inglewood to make Inglewood a great place to live, which it already is, but there's so much passion in being on, I'm on the Nextdoor app. And so listening and reading about people's reactions to how much the city has grown and the people who want to provide a service to the city just has sparked a passion in me to want to serve the city in any capacity I possibly can.
Awesome. Thank you.
Good evening, Ms. Spencer. My name is Joe Anderson. I'm District 3 City Council member. Thank you for applying. The question I have tonight is, please describe an experience in the past during which you worked in a group of people with diverse and sometimes opposing views and perspectives.
Being that I work in the mortgage industry, and I've also worked in, I've also always had like a second job. So I've worked in grocery stores. And so being able to work around a diverse population is, it's almost the norm. And I feel like even at a group setting, even being around the general public, you adapt to serve people in the best way that you possibly can, regardless of who they are, what their age is. You just adapt, and you try to make their experience the best experience that you can.
Very good. Thank you.
Good evening, Ms. Spencer. My name is Rita Russell. I'm council member at large, and it is very nice to have you here this evening. And so my question for you is, what do you like most about Inglewood?
It's pretty amazing. During the summertime, I would walk down Broadway in the mornings. I'd walk all the way down to Bellevue, and I live by Swedish. So I walk all the way down to Bellevue and all the way back, and when I walk past buildings, I could remember, oh, this place used to be a donut shop, or this place used to be a grocery store. So it was really kind of amazing to me to even see the places that still exist, like Frank's Pizza has been in existence forever. And so it was really fun, like to walk down the street and just remember certain places I would go to as a kid, or the tremendous growth Inglewood has had over the past even few years. Downtown Inglewood is, even during the pandemic, downtown Inglewood has really adapted to the population and the people that have moved into the community. And it's just a really fun place to be now. It's really fun. It's really great to see that growth.
Absolutely. I agree with you. Thank you so much.
Ms. Spencer, I'm Cheryl Wink, council member at large in Inglewood. Good evening. I would like to know if on the budget, the Board of Adjustment and Appeals, if there's anything you know of or can think of that you'd like to see change, improved, based on your knowledge thus far. And I understand you might not have dug deeply into it as yet.
Based on my knowledge thus far, I believe that Inglewood does a really good job at really vetting the people who want to do business in Inglewood, and I think that's a huge positive aspect for the city. The city council does an amazing job at really looking to what is going to benefit the city, and I think it's so important that you guys are so positive and you keep the city in good standing, financially as well as aesthetically. And I believe that with that being said, I think you guys do a tremendous, amazing job at, who you allow to be in this community. And I just think I think it has made Inglewood, like I said, just a great place to live. And the businesses that are popping up, I truly believe bring great value to the city.
Thank you so much, Tanya Spencer. Great answer.
Good evening, Ms. Spencer. My name is Dave Cuesta, and I'm with District 4. Regular attendance and engagement with the board and commission is required. Will you be able to attend the scheduled meetings regularly?
Absolutely.
Very good. Thank you again for your interest. I appreciate the application.
Thank you.
Great to meet you, Ms. Spencer. I'm Linda Olson, and I represent District 2. Actually think you are in District 2, but maybe it said 3.
I think I might be in District 3.
Are you south of Hamden or north of Hamden?
North.
Oh, you're in my district. I walk by Swedish. But anyway, Grow and Gather is one of my favorite places.
Okay.
But thank you for being here. And I have the last question to ask you. How will your service on this board and commission benefit you as an Inglewood citizen, either personally or professionally?
Being that my grandparents lived in Inglewood for such a long time, and I think my best memories of my childhood, even now as an adult, have been the things that I experienced while being with them. And again, just seeing the growth and development and just remembering some of the places that used to be and the places that are here now, that just brings me so much joy. And that, again, invokes such passion for me to be able to serve the city in any way. I mean, even if I'm not picked for a board to serve on, I would love to find out what other ways there are for me to be able to volunteer or to even just sit in on board meetings so I could get some experience or some insight, and then taking what I hear from residents in this particular district and passing them on. So that would be my primary reason, just my passion for living in the city and knowing that this is where I grew up.
Thank you. And it's fun to hear about your family connection here as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Spencer. I believe you do have some time to ask the City Council any questions. Do you have anything for us?
I do not. I know it's probably been a long night for you guys, and I appreciate you taking the time to interview everybody and also to stay on a little bit later to interview me. So I really do appreciate it, and I thank you for your service and everything that you do for the city.
Thank you very much, Ms. Spencer. This is actually a short night for us, so. But no, I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you coming tonight and for your thoughtful answers. So tonight, actually, you were our last interview for the night. So we'll start a discussion about placement, either the first Monday of December or the first Monday in January. We will make final appointments for boards or commissions, and so we definitely will keep you posted, Ms. Spencer. But thank you very much for your willingness to serve.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Have a great evening.
You too.
Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.
So I believe we are now ready to start discussion. And Mayor, if you don't mind, I only have one screen. If you don't mind leading the discussion around placements while I try to find my Excel file.
Sure. Does anybody need a break? We're doing okay. We just had one kind of, right? Just want to make sure. Okay, nobody's asking for one. We're going to keep moving. So I didn't hear two people. I didn't hear Christopher Underwood nor Logan Denning. I heard John Lieberman, but wasn't involved in asking questions, just so you know. And so I'll probably just kind of back off a bit. But how about if we start with this one that has list of people who are interested and then what the blank line is about. So is that okay? Or
yeah, actually, Mayor, before we get started, we did have discussion prior to the meeting regarding just placement of reappointments.
Okay.
There were no questions or concerns regarding the reappointments to existing boards. So from my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, members of council, to me, that would just mean that we would just reappoint the existing members to those boards. So really the discussion.
An agreement to reappoint every.
Great. Member Anderson has his hand up. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I had two questions. Number one was Mr. Oganowski is applying for a third board. Is that something? I know we've allowed two. Is three something we're allowing?
I was going to recommend that we sort of put him off to the side for now and see how everyone else fits in, and then come back. And if you all, I mean, that is a lot, and we don't normally do that.
And then the second question I had, there was one candidate that jumped out at me for this question, and that is, I know we're going to be appointing members for a DDA. I didn't know if we're going to have a couple of citizens on that, on the Downtown Development Authority, when we go to appoint those. I'm sure there'll be business representatives and those kind of things, but I wondered if we should keep in mind anyone for the DDA.
That's a very good question. I think we're going to need to do that differently, because that was not one of the things put up.
Right.
If there is, and how many and what it's going to mean. So I think we're going to have to do that in a different round.
Yeah. Okay.
But good earmark for that too. So then, Member Wink, were you okay with going forward with each one of these, or were you going to also say something about that?
I wasn't going to say anything else.
Okay. All right, let's start with Board of Adjustments and Appeals. If we have put Mark Oganowski off to the side, that would mean Tanya Spencer. I don't know if you have something else in mind for her.
Sorry, Mayor. Member Russell has her hand up real quick.
Sorry. Member Russell, go ahead.
Thank you. And I had a question about the Board of Adjustment and Appeals. We had asked a question before. Are there any requirements for the Board of Adjustment and Appeals, either time-wise in the city or anything else?
I think that's one of the one-year requirements.
May I answer that, Mayor?
Yes, please do. Thank you, Mr. Comer.
For the Board of Adjustment and Appeals, an individual to be appointed must be a qualified elector and be a resident of the city for 1 year prior to the appointment.
Okay, so then we need to, I think Ms. Spencer has just been here 1 year. She has on her application, right? In terms of how long have you lived in Englewood? It says 1. I don't know if that's 1 month, 1 year. I assume it's a year.
And also we would have to make sure that she's a registered elector, right? Because you don't have to be a registered elector to apply for boards.
Right. Yep.
Not for every board. There's a few boards that you need to be a qualified elector for.
What are the other ones?
Well, planning and zoning, you have to be a qualified elector. Board of Adjustment, you have to be a qualified elector. Water and Sewer Board, and the Election Commission, and the Non-Emergency Employees Retirement Board.
Okay. And those usually get checked, I think, when we come up with the names, but it's good to remind them of that. Go ahead, Member Russell.
Okay, and I have one more question. When we were talking before about appointments and no one having any problems, if we are appointing Carl Adams to become a regular member of Planning and Zoning, would that then mean that the alternate position is open and we could place someone in the alternate position?
I would think so. Did you talk about that ahead of time?
No, we didn't.
We didn't talk about Carl Adams. I'd like to have that discussion when we get there too.
Okay. All right, then let's head through each one of them. Is that okay? We'll start with Board of Adjustment and Appeals.
Mhm.
So there were two people that put that as their first and second choices. Tonya would be the one. We'd have to check on electoral status, right? Is there
Mhm.
anything else, anybody else you thought might be good there? No? Okay, pencil Ms. Spencer in. Budget Advisory Committee. Again, if we did the same thing with one candidate, that would
Josh.
leave Mr. Newell then would be the penciled in candidate. Yep.
Yep.
Anything contrary to that? All right, then Code Enforcement Advisory Committee. Again, we would have
Underwood.
And then an alternate, which there may be some other candidates that won't get onto anything else. So let's hold that one open. Or do you have someone in mind already? Nobody has.
So I have a question about it. I know that we're saying a limit of 2 boards and commissions for Mr. Oganowski. But as an alternate, do we think that has any impact, that it would be as an alternate?
Well, they would eventually become, somebody could resign tomorrow and then he's on 3.
That makes sense.
I would prefer to try and get almost everybody that's never done one before on one. And if they said they'd be on anything almost, and it looks like it might be a good fit, we're gonna have to go back and forth maybe with some people, but I would prefer to see if we can do that first before we come back. Because I think we don't have enough positions for everybody, do we?
I think you're probably right.
No.
We do not by, I think, about 2.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me. Thank you.
Keep that one open, and when you think of someone that might fit in there. And then on to Cultural Arts Commission.
I think Kyle makes sense there. Kyle Conrad.
Okay. Any others? I'm fine with that one.
Good one.
Election Commission, now you know, or if you didn't before, you know that it really does not meet much at all, and it's sort of a separate set of eyes on our process. But because Arapahoe County does it, they might get called up once a year. They probably maybe next year, but not much at all.
That's a reappointment, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
So we just put reappointment of
Robert Watson
in there. I mean, I'm sure he would do that and something else. I almost feel like if you put someone in there, if they want to do something else, we let them do it because it's so kind of them to at least be on the stand election stuff. All right, Englewood, keep Englewood beautiful. We have 3 spots. So there are some reapplicants. Yeah. So Michael Chisholm, we put in as top.
Yep.
And then we have 2 more.
So this one I struggled because I was trying to find a place. I really liked the resumes of the married couple, the Dunnings. And so I was trying to find a place where they could serve together, not that it's a requirement. And this was the only spot where there were enough spaces after the reappointments to allow for that. At the same time, if we put the Dunnings there, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'm at a loss in terms of Meg Griffin Donaldson. So, but my gut wants to put the 2 Dunnings there. What do you know?
Actually, that's kind of interesting, this member Wink, because I was actually thinking they may want to serve on separate boards. And so I had a different kind of thought process behind that one. So I had this lease there and one of the Dunnings, and I was thinking of Mr. Dunning as the cultural, not the cultural, the CEAC board.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking of that as either an alternate or as the first choice because he did list all of them across the board. But it was just a thought.
Yeah, I had the same thought on this. I think it makes sense to split them up. I mean, I'm sure they would enjoy serving together as well, but might be good to. I think if I was just putting myself in a position, if I was serving on a board and commission, I think I would want my wife on a different one. Not that because I spend all day with her, so I don't know if that would be a preference or not. But I had kind of leaned towards splitting them up also.
Just a note, Mayor Pro Tem, CEAC is one of the few that he did not apply for. On Logan.
Okay. Good to know.
Yeah.
He had quite a list, but not that one.
Yeah, he had a pretty big list. Yeah, I was on a similar page with you guys actually. I think that Mrs. Dunning really would be great for our public library board because of the work that she does professionally. I think that's the right spot for her.
That's great.
I know I'm jumping us out of order a little bit here, but I feel like it bears the discussion at this point. And then I actually really like Mr. Dunning for planning and zoning.
So Bryn Dunning would be, that is her first choice, public library, and we
Yep.
have Amy Watson would be the reappointment there. Is that right?
Wilson, yeah, Amy Wilson.
I'm sorry, I'm reading that wrong. Amy Wilson, and then Bryn Dunning.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what were your other ideas? So we want to hold off on Logan for a minute?
I was thinking Logan for planning and zoning, but I think that's a discussion we're going to get into shortly here.
Okay.
He's got a lot of regulatory experience, you know, and administrative experience. So.
Okay. And then we have Marissa Lease.
I like her for KEB. And that was her first choice. Yeah.
Okay. That leaves an opening there. We could bring someone back in at another point. Just keep going. Do you mind? Malley Center Trust.
Lieberman?
Member Russell, how many times do you all meet for that?
We meet 4 times a year.
So it's quarterly.
So it's, yeah, quarterly. And I think we probably, I mean, I know it's not a requirement, but I do know at one point they, city council put a young woman on that committee, and they wanted somebody that could belong to the Malley Center. So, I mean, I think that's something that we should keep in mind, because that population does have, you know, certain needs that are a little bit different. And it doesn't, there's not a whole lot of time serving. We just had a meeting, I think it was last week, and but then we won't have one for 3 more months.
Okay, well, we'll leave that one open for now. Then go down to Parks and Rec. It looks like we do have that one filled with Christine Adams as the reappointment and Monica Johnson is the second, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Then planning and zoning, that's where we end up now. All right. We have Michelle Austin as a reappointment, is that right? Yeah.
Yep.
I agree with Member Stone. I think Logan Dunning would be a good fit here, and then leaving Carl Adams as the alternate.
So the problem that I have with that, there was no opposition to Carl Adams being raised up. Carl Adams is a longtime resident, and I think that we should move him up and put somebody else. I do have a question about Mr. Dunning. Did he apply for the Board of Adjustment and Appeals? Because the truth is, he probably, if he has regulatory experience, would fit in that position very well, I think.
That's one of the few that he did not apply for.
I'm going to also support Carl going from alternate to regular. I thought that should have happened last time. Logan or Mr. Dunning, who I think would be great for the alternate. He's got P&Z as his 6th choice. Moving him ahead of Carl, or excuse me, Mr. Adams. I don't understand the reasoning behind that. Carl has been dutiful in serving on that. Again, I thought he should have been moved up last time, and I see no reason why he shouldn't be this time.
Other thoughts?
I also support Mr. Adams moving up to regular member of Planning and Zoning this time. And I appreciated the letter from Mr. Freemeyer.
Maybe we could ask Mr. Dunning if he would be available for one of the other commissions.
Well, if we move up Carl Adams, which then that would leave an opening for an alternate on planning and zoning. So we
Yeah.
need to fill that too.
That's true.
So,
Mayor, just to kind of voice in I too support Mr. Adams.
And I'll support that as well.
okay, so we'd put Michelle and, Ms. Austin and Mr. Adams in, and then we have an alternate opening.
Mm-hmm.
There are other people we can look at, but it sounded like I didn't hear Mr. Dunning, so I'll go with whatever you all think on that one.
Should we just fill in Mr. Dunning as the alternate at this point?
I think that makes sense.
It does make sense, and then we can come back around if you want to make any further changes. Public Library Board, we're filled, right? Ms. Wilson and Ms. Dunning. And then the last is Urban Renewal. Urban Renewal, this is an odd one. We probably really should have a conversation about this board. They really are not meeting. There's not a reason for them to be meeting right now, and it hasn't been active since we did the redevelopment at the Englewood Parkway in that area. But we definitely probably put people on, but I think we need to be really honest with them that this is not an active working group. And
so let's put Zion back there and put Meg Griffin Donaldson and try and give Meg Griffin Donaldson more work somewhere, perhaps. She's so full of energy. She's so, it just seems like the whole package.
Yeah.
So, I'd hate to underutilize her.
Mayor, did you say that Urban Renewal Authority doesn't meet or meets annually at this point?
I don't, Mr. Comer, do you know if they have to by charter meet annually at least?
I don't know. I can certainly look that information up.
I did try and get some information from Manager Lewis, and he said it's been deactivated since he's come, but he may not know.
I don't think it's been deactivated because it's created by statute.
Right. So I think what it, and I think we need to, I think we should go ahead and move Ms. Zion Spurgeon up and, or back into the next term, and then do something with, if it's Meg Donaldson, great. But I think we need to have a conversation about this board and just figure out what are we doing with it and what our requirements are, so that when we do this in 6 months again, we're not inviting people to something that doesn't really do anything yet. So did anybody look at every name to figure out if we put them somewhere?
You know, it looks like, and maybe I don't have my charts lined up correctly. Dunning, his first choice was really the Election Commission. I know that that's probably way underutilizing him.
And we already have a reappointment there too.
Yep.
Because I think Mr. Watson, right?
Yeah.
Mr. Watson reapplied for it.
Just reappointed, so there's not a position actually there. So
I'm also thinking, you know, Mr. Dunning applied for KEB and it meets 30 minutes before planning and zoning. But Mr. Newell also applied for planning and zoning. And maybe he'd be willing to do an alternate for planning and zoning in addition to budget advisory, and then we could put Mr. Dunning in KEB.
I like that a lot. Yeah.
May I break in for just a moment? With regard to urban renewal, they do have a mandatory annual meeting, and that's typically done in January.
Okay.
Member Stone, can you repeat again what you wanted to do with?
So we would put Mr. Newell as the alternate to P&Z because that was something that he also applied for, and I don't believe that it conflicts with budget advisory. And then we would put Mr. Dunning in KEB.
are you suggesting that he would be on 2 then?
Yes.
Mr. Newell?
Mr. Newell, yes.
One
But,
and a half.
on 1 as an alternate.
Actually, Member Stone, there may be some conflicts because budget advisory does meet on Tuesdays, and planning and zoning does as well.
And
Yeah.
planning and zoning is a quasi judicial, and so we have not allowed them to be on another board. So
Gotcha.
I think our plan to have Mr. Dunning on planning and zoning, and then Mr. Newell, whose first choice was BAC.
And actually, in his interview, that's really what he wants, but that's really where I think will be very gifted and an asset.
Oh, I
to that.
agree. Yeah, I agree fully. I didn't want to remove him from budget advisory by any means.
Right.
Okay, let's go through the list. Is Mr. Underwood, where did we put him
Yep.
in code enforcement?
CEAC.
CAC.
And Mr. Dunning is the one we're looking for right now, right?
Yeah,
It could be CEAC, but that's not one that he put on.
right.
And then Mr. Lieberman, we put in PRC. All right.
There's no additional space in PRC.
Right. Those are both reappointments.
Yeah.
So it's Mr. Lieberman that we haven't found a place for, and Mr.
Correct.
Dunning. And then Ms. Dunning, we do have a place for her.
Yeah.
We do
Library.
have a place currently for Mr. Newell, and we do have a place for,
Did Mr. Lieberman say he was willing to serve anywhere?
well,
Yeah.
What about putting him as the alternate on code enforcement?
can I just finish what I was doing? And make
Yes.
sure we've got, so hold on to that thought though, don't let us let go of it. So
Okay.
Ms. Lees, we have in a place, right?
Yes.
Mr. Oganowski, we decided we'd still wait on. Ms. Donaldson, we have a place for, but it's not ideal, right?
Correct.
Mr. Conrad, we have, Ms. Conrad, we have.
Ms.
at
Conrad. Yep.
Mr. Watson,
Watson is election.
it's
Yeah.
yeah, it's a reappointment, but he wanted to do something else too.
As well. Yeah.
So, and then Ms. Spencer, Board of Adjustments and Appeal, right? So that
Yeah.
one's, so we have
Yeah.
three people, including, so go back, Member Russell, what were you going to say?
Well, I forget who I said about making them an alternate.
Lieberman.
Lieberman, he might, be, or the other one that might be is Mr. Watson might be a great alternate for there too.
So if we put, do you all have a preference?
For P and Z?
Let's start with Code Enforcement Advisory Committee. The
Oh, sorry. So it's Watson or Lieberman is the proposal?
Yes.
As alternate there? Oh.
I really didn't hear much of his, so he seemed very energetic though.
Who?
Mr. Lieberman.
He was very energetic. Yeah.
Ready to do something. Not that they aren't all, but.
But he also said isn't he the one that said he would be willing to wait?
Yep. I think
Yeah.
Watson is better on CEAC.
Yeah, I agree.
Or it might be a better combination for him right now to support the election commission. Yeah, I'd say Watson, maybe.
I think that's a good idea.
Thanks, Don.
Is everybody okay with that? All right, I don't hear any no's. And then.
Mayor, can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Was
that Lieberman?
Watson.
Watson. So.
For CAC as the alternate?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And then Watson also to continue as a reappointment in Election Commission. So,
Thank
which
you.
is basically, Jackie, it's like nothing, right?
The Election Commission?
Yeah.
Yeah, they meet maybe once a year. We'll meet a little bit more next summer just with appointments for council, but maybe twice for 2021.
Okay. All right, then we're to keep Englewood beautiful and Malley Center with the openings that we have here. We've got openings for 2 people And, you know, maybe Mr. Dunning would actually be good on the Valley Trust and bring some perspective there.
How often, you said it meets quarterly, is that right?
Yes.
I still really like the idea of putting Mr. Dunning on KEB. But
Oh yeah, because that was one that he asked for.
yeah. Yeah, it was one of his middling choices.
We still have one opening there, right? We have Marissa.
Mhm. Yep.
I wonder if we could do Mr. Lieberman then on the Valley Trust Fund. It's part of the rec center programming and recreational opportunities and stuff. I wonder if that's, even though we don't have a place for him on PRC right now.
That's where I had his name.
Oh,
So we could ask him if he would be willing to do that.
yeah, that would fit. That would, I think then that takes care of everyone, doesn't it?
The only thing that leaves open is it would be very difficult for Mr. Dunning to be at KEB at 6:30 and planning and zoning at 7.
We don't, oh.
We didn't put him on P and Z, did we?
We were talking about putting him as the alternate when we move Mr. Adams up.
We did. No, if he's on, I actually think if he's on the alternate for planning and zoning, that's great. He needs to get going. That position has been used a lot. So the alternate fills it. So sorry, back to an empty Englewood, beautiful. Is there anybody else?
Meg Donaldson. I mean, she's done it before. She's right now on urban renewal only.
Let's put her.
I'm sorry, I didn't ask. So what did we do with the library? Because I was thinking of putting her there.
I thought of that too, Sierra. That's a good point.
We reappointed Ms. Wilson and we appointed Ms. Dunning as our first, that was her first choice too. We could put Ms. Dunning under KEB.
Okay, my mistake.
Oh.
No, I think that's fine. The reappointment with Ms. Dunning.
For library.
Yeah, for library.
I think putting.
Actually, Mayor, can I ask a question just really quick about the library? I know it's part of charter. There's no alternates within the library board today. Does that have to be a change in charter in order for us to appoint alternates to the library board?
I think so.
Yeah.
That was a short conversation. Okay, moving on.
Yep.
Actually, if we fill these two positions, they've had a lot of vacancies over the years, right? This would be full for the first time in a while.
In a long time.
Well, at least for a couple of years. When I was on it, it was full. People wanted to be on it. That was a hard thing to get on for a long time. I don't know what happened.
Cyclical.
Yeah. So I'm sorry. I think I lost who we think then is on KEB. Meg?
We were talking about putting Miss Donaldson back there, yeah.
I'm hesitant to do that just because I came on KB right when she was finishing up her last term, and I had a conversation with her, and she specifically wanted to do something different and new. I'm not sure she would agree to going back there when she's kind of wanting to move more in kind of more of an urban, the Urban and Renewal Authority, or she talked a lot about zoning and city making and stuff like that. I think she enjoyed KB, but I'm not sure she would want to do it again. I don't know that for sure, but we can always ask her.
What about moving her to planning and zoning? That really is a smart kind. That is her.
I think she would be terrific on planning and zoning. Yeah.
That's really good, Mayor. Yeah.
So then
and then we can
Dunning
bring
over.
Logan Dunning back on KB. I think that's actually a pretty good idea. Yep.
That would mean though that move Meg Griffin Donaldson off of urban renewal because she couldn't be an alternate for but I think she'd be happier.
I think she'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Things to do.
Yeah.
A lot. Yeah. And then and then we move Mr. Dunning under Keep Englewood Beautiful.
Mhm.
Yep.
And we could ask him to be
Urban renewal.
No. Yep.
your thing too.
Yep.
Sure.
I think that works.
Did we totally, Jackie?
You want me to run through my list or do you want to run through your list?
Your list, and then we'll make sure that they match both. It's up to you though.
All right. For BAA, I've got Spencer. Budget Advisory, I have Newell. For Code Enforcement, I have Underwood and Watson. For Cultural Arts, I have Conrad. We have Watson on Election.
Yep.
Keep Englewood Beautiful, we have Chisholm, Lease, and Logan Dunning. Malley, we have Lieberman. Is that Lieberman? Yeah. And then Parks and Rec, I have Adams and Monica Johnson. P&Z, I have Austin and Carl Adams getting moved from alternate to regular. And then Meg Donaldson would be the alternate.
Yep.
For Public Library Board, I have Wilson and Brian Dunning. And Urban Renewal, I have Zion reappointment and then Logan Dunning on that one.
Yes.
Whew.
It's a great, I think it's a great slate, don't you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
We can check all these out and make sure everything's all okay, and we'll come back. We can make changes, of course.
I will reach out to Spencer to make sure she's can be on BAA and Mr. Lieberman from Malley.
All right. I think that's it, everybody.
All right.
Perfect.
Mayor Pro Tem, thank you. I think it's okay to say that you got an email while we were on here from our city manager about the conversation we had on the call that made me late, which is changing. The CDPHE is now, since it's out in the news, CDPHE is moving us to Orange as a county. So you can take a look and see what that's about. All right, everybody be well. And we will see you on Monday next week.
All right.
Have a great night.
Have a good night, everyone. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.